Welcome to the Daily Globe. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon for more breaking updates. The global economy stands at a tipping point, teetering between stability and chaos. Every day, markets react to the smallest tremors, and investors hold their breath, waiting for the next headline that could send shockwaves around the world. The stakes have never felt higher, and the sense of uncertainty is palpable in every corner of the financial world. Tensions between the United States and the expanding BRICS bloc have reached a fever pitch, with both sides digging in and refusing to back down. Behind closed doors, diplomats scramble to find common ground, but the gulf between these global powers only seems to widen. As of October 1st, 2025, the world watches anxiously as US President Donald J. Trump threatens aggressive tariffs against China, Russia, India, and their allies. The threat is not just rhetoric, markets are already reacting, and the uncertainty is rippling through economies both large and small. This isn't just political posturing, it's a looming economic earthquake that could shake every household, from the skyscrapers of New York to the rural villages of India. The impact will be felt in living rooms, workplaces, and marketplaces across the globe. The very rules of international trade are being rewritten in real time. Long-standing agreements are being questioned, and new alliances are forming. No one will be left untouched as the world's supply chains are tested like never before. The price of goods, job security, and the value of savings all hang in the balance. For millions, the fear of rising costs and shrinking paychecks is becoming a daily reality, and the uncertainty is eroding confidence in the future. The US, long the leader of the global economy, now faces a serious challenge from a coalition representing a massive share of the world's population and output. The BRICS nations are not just economic rivals. They are shaping a new vision for global cooperation and influence. BRICS' push for a multipolar world and alternatives to the US dollar has triggered a forceful American response, setting the stage for a high-stakes showdown. The world is watching as these two giants maneuver for advantage, each move sending ripples through financial systems and political alliances. This is more than a clash of nations, it's a battle between two visions for the future, US dominance versus a new shared global order. The outcome will shape not just economies, but the very way nations interact and cooperate for decades to come. As we dive into this crisis, the stakes for ordinary people have never been higher. Every decision made in distant capitals will echo in the lives of families, workers, and communities everywhere. The world truly stands on a knife's edge, and what happens next will define a generation. To grasp today's crisis, we need to understand BRICS. Originally coined in 2001 to describe Brazil, Russia, India, and China's economic potential, BRICS became a political force in 2009, seeking more influence in global institutions dominated by the West. South Africa joined in 2010, expanding the group's reach to Africa and solidifying its identity as a coalition of major emerging economies. BRICS's core mission, to create a multipolar world and build alternatives to Western-led systems, including the New Development Bank. This ambition to reshape the global order is at the heart of its friction with the United States. BRICS has rapidly expanded, now including Saudi Arabia, Iran, Egypt, Ethiopia, the UAE, and Indonesia, transforming it into an alliance of 11 nations. Together, they account for nearly 40% of global GDP and a quarter of world trade, rivaling the G7. The bloc's influence stretches across Asia, Africa, South America, and the Middle East, with a growing network of strategic partners. This expansion is seen in Washington as a direct challenge to US dominance. BRICS' push for de-dollarization, reducing reliance on the US dollar, has triggered alarm and a forceful American response. The stage is set for a global economic realignment. The crisis erupted when President Trump issued a dramatic threat: a sweeping 100% tariff on all goods from BRICS nations. He warned that any country aligning itself with BRICS would face the same harsh penalties, sending shockwaves through global markets. Trump's message was clear: if you try to replace the US dollar in international trade, you'll pay double for access to the American market. This is not just another trade dispute. It's a direct challenge to the financial independence and growing influence of the BRICS alliance. In April 2025, Trump unveiled a new round of reciprocal tariffs, starting at 10% for countries imposing what he called unfair tariffs on U.S. goods. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick set August 1st as the official start date, but Trump emphasized that there was still room for negotiation, hinting at possible deals if countries reconsidered their positions. At the July BRICS summit in Rio de Janeiro, Trump escalated his rhetoric, declaring that any nation supporting BRICS's anti-American policies would face an additional 10% tariff. This bold move has forced the world to make a choice: maintain vital U.S. trade ties or risk aligning with BRICS and facing economic retaliation. Trump's maximalist approach leaves no room for neutrality or compromise. The threat of sweeping tariffs has become a global ultimatum, putting immense pressure on governments and businesses worldwide. The consequences of this standoff could reshape international diplomacy, global supply chains, and the future of trade for years to come. 2025 has been a year of relentless escalation. In February, Trump publicly doubled down on his 100% tariff threat, sending global markets into turmoil. The Peterson Institute for International Economics, PIIE, soon warned that such tariffs would devastate both the U.S. and BRICS economies. In April, Trump unveiled a broader reciprocal tariff strategy, with an August 1st deadline looming. Behind the scenes, frantic diplomacy unfolded as countries scrambled for exemptions. At the July BRICS summit, Trump's additional 10% tariff threat further polarized the world. As the August deadline passed, some tariffs took effect, but the full scope remains a bargaining chip, leaving the global economy in suspense. The numbers are stark. PIIE projects the U.S. would lose $432 billion in GDP by the end of a second Trump term if 100% tariffs are imposed. American consumers would see prices jump 1.6%, hitting family budgets hard and fueling inflation. Everyday goods, from electronics to clothing, would become far more expensive, squeezing lower and middle-income households. BRICS nations would also suffer: GDP declines, rising inflation, and job losses, especially in China. The pain would be mutual, with no winners. Only economic damage on all sides. Chinese officials warn, trade wars have no winners. Protectionism leads nowhere. Brazilian President Lula da Silva argues, BRICS wants another way of organizing the world economically. The data is clear: a full-scale tariff war would derail global growth and punish citizens everywhere. It's a lose-lose scenario. The fallout from sweeping tariffs would go far beyond economics. Tariffs aren't just taxes on goods, they're shockwaves that ripple through every layer of society, affecting how nations interact, how businesses operate, and how ordinary people live their daily lives. Trump's hardline stance forces nations to pick sides, risking a new era of rival economic blocs. The world could split into competing alliances, with countries aligning based on trade interests and political loyalties, deepening global divisions. Global supply chains, built over decades, would be shattered, forcing companies to scramble for alternatives and driving up costs. Products that once moved seamlessly across borders could face delays, shortages, and unpredictable price spikes, disrupting industries from tech to agriculture. Small businesses and consumers would feel the pain through higher prices and job losses. Local shops might close their doors, and families could struggle to afford everyday essentials as the cost of living rises. Inflation would erode real wages, and economic anxiety would spread. People may find their paychecks don't stretch as far, fueling frustration and uncertainty about the future. Ironically, these moves could accelerate the decline of U.S. influence, as BRICS and allies double down on building alternative systems. New financial networks and trade agreements could emerge, challenging the dominance of the dollar and reshaping global power. The U.S. risks isolating itself, while BRICS grows stronger and more unified. America could find itself on the outside, looking in as new alliances form and old partnerships weaken. The world could become permanently fragmented, with diminished American leadership. International cooperation on issues like climate change, security, and technology could become harder than ever. The cost of protectionism would be a less efficient, more volatile global economy. Markets could swing wildly, and businesses might struggle to plan for the future amid constant uncertainty. The stakes are nothing less than the future shape of the world order. The choices made today could define the global landscape for generations to come, affecting peace, prosperity, and the balance of power worldwide. Economists and policy experts are sounding the alarm. The consensus: broad tariffs are a blunt tool that hurt the US as much as its rivals. PIIE warns Trump's tariffs would raise prices, slow growth, and fail to stop BRICS ambitions. Experts say the dollar's dominance isn't under immediate threat. BRICS efforts are still in early stages. Many urge the US to invest in competitiveness and alliances, not isolation. Aggressive tariffs risk pushing countries like India and Brazil into a hardened anti-US bloc. This could undermine cooperation on global issues from climate change to security. The expert verdict: tariffs are a high-risk gamble with little chance of success and huge potential for lasting damage. The world stands at a crossroads. The US BRICS tariff standoff is more than a trade dispute. It's a battle over the future of global power. Trump's tariff threats could trigger a global downturn, hurting Americans and rivals alike. BRICS now represents nearly 40% of global GDP, challenging decades of US-led order. The choice? A future of rivalry and fragmentation, or one of cooperation and reform. The outcome will shape jobs, prices, and international relations for years to come. The stakes are immense, and the world is watching. The next move will define the global economy's future.